Hi, everybody.
Why did we move here?
Why did we move here?
Why did we move here?
To learn Espanol.
That's why we moved to Mexico, but
Correct.
why Bucerias?
That was all you, I'm afraid.
It was me?
Yeah.
It's my fault?
I do think it was all your fault. I kind of let you take the reins. He had this idea to move down to Mexico, and I just kind of let him roll with it, and in a way to kind of see how much would happen and if we were really serious. I trust him to make that decision. So I knew that he would do some really good research.
Let's start with the big picture. Once we realized we worked remotely, we worked from home, we could work anywhere in the world, technically. So I wanted to stay roughly within a couple time zones of the people I'm going to be calling. I didn't want to be calling, having to wake up at 1 in the morning to make calls. That kind of narrowed that down. The next limitation was we want warm weather. So that narrowed it down even more, and that pretty much limited it to Mexico. The next thing is we both wanted to be close to the beach. Then the next thing that narrowed it down really even further was we wanted to be within an hour or so drive of a major international airport.
We did want to have that opportunity to fly home relatively easy and relatively inexpensive.
So we narrowed it down to basically Cabo, Mazatlan, or the Puerto Vallarta area. For us, Cabo, the water was a little too cold, the environs were a little too deserty.
Yeah, it didn't feel as family oriented, but we had both been to Puerto Vallarta, and we both felt like the towns here had more of a family feel. The water was much warmer, and so it kind of felt like a great fit.
So if you look at Puerto Vallarta, there's a whole region. You have all the way, to the north, you have Lo de Marcos, San Pancho, Sayulita, Punta Mita, here in Bucerias, Nuevo Vallarta, Mezcales, Puerto Vallarta, and then a little bit south from there. So it's a pretty good size area. And we didn't know where exactly we wanted to be. Each place has their own individual feel. You have some great nightlife down in Puerto Vallarta. You have the Pueblo Mágico of Sayulita, the resorts of Punta Mita. Where did we want to be? Well, Bucerias, when we look at the map, was pretty much right in the middle of all of that.
Okay. It was close enough to Puerto Vallarta and the airport. It was close enough to a lot of the really well-known beach towns that are really popular surf spots. And we did kind of feel like it was right in the center. So at least for that first month, we could get a place here and start to explore and really decide where we wanted to be full time. Then we joined all the Facebook groups, anything that was friends of Bucerias, Puerto Vallarta, region areas, so that we could start kind of getting to know people and seeing what people were asking about. We asked some questions, and it was a great community to get some answers from and to really get an idea of if it would be a good fit. We will post below some of the links to some of the Facebook groups that we've joined. That way, if you are considering moving to Bucerias, we definitely want you to join those groups. You can also send us a message if you are curious. One of the things that we did love about it, this place that we chose in Bucerias, is it had a great pool, but it also had walking distance to the beach, but we had a gated security codo, so we knew that it was going to be safe, especially for the first week that I was here alone with the boys. I know that that was a concern of mine. We don't know the area. We had actually never been to Bucerias. So now for why we chose to stay here. Say that.
Okay. So for now, why we chose to stay here.
It is a wonderful community. We are absolutely in love with this town. Everybody that we've met, every establishment we've gone to, it's incredibly easy to get around. So getting groceries, going and getting a coffee, going out to eat, we can walk. It's been amazing. Every weekend we've gone on a little daytime adventure, and with 2 toddlers, none of the drives are far. It's 20 minutes to Sayulita, half an hour to Puerto Vallarta, 20-ish minutes to San Pancho. So it's been really nice to be able to explore and not have to have the kids stuck in the car for hours. We also have amenities, like there's a Costco down in Puerto Vallarta.
One of the ways we eliminated a lot of the different locations, Puerto Vallarta proper, El Centro, Cinco de Diciembre, Zona Romantica, beautiful places down there. Emily loved it when we went to go visit.
I did.
The challenge down there, well, it's twofold. One is for a family like us, we need a 3-bedroom house, or at least 2 bedrooms and an office. I do work from home. And so that's kind of difficult to find as you get into the more populous areas,
Yeah.
especially within our budget.
Yeah.
Puerto Vallarta was a little bit too popular.
And I wanted a pool, so that adds to the expense.
That was difficult.
Yeah, definitely making the decision to move here and having 2 little kids. I love to swim, and I know my kids do, so I think you have to think about that when you're planning to come here. Is you're not really swimming at the beach. You play in the ocean, but you don't get to actually do that whole swimming thing.
The other thing that kept us away from Puerto Vallarta proper, more the downtown area, was the noise. Everything's built up, the cobblestone streets are kind of narrow, and again, with me working from home, having that noise in the background while I'm on phone calls was a no-go. Now going the other direction, San Pancho, Sayulita, gorgeous areas, would have actually been really good for us. I'd like to go surfing every day, and that would be really convenient for that. Couple of problems with those areas. One is that they have risen pretty dramatically in price. Very
popular.
They're very
which
popular. Yeah.
They've earned. It's beautiful. Those towns are beautiful. The beaches are beautiful. They don't not deserve it, but it is very expensive.
Yeah, they were also a bit outside of our price range. Also, one of the things I heard particularly about San Pancho, Sayulita might be better, it was the internet speed. I was talking to somebody that said the best internet that he could get was his satellite internet at 35 megabits per second. I need a good, reliable, halfway fast internet connection to do my job so I can afford to be here.
Yes, absolutely. Very important to think about if you are trying to make the decision to move here and you are able to work remote. The first place that we stayed here in Bucerias, the internet was incredibly slow. So we had to have that upgraded, and then luckily the second place we moved to, the internet was double that, and it's still only, what did you say our internet's at right now?
We'll get like 45 to 50 megabits per second on a download speed.
So if you're from America, that's going to be rough to get used to, but trust me, it's fine to work and stream and do all the things that you need to do.
So we did look at a few other places, Mezcales, Nueva Vallarta, other codos, and there were just some things that we weren't huge fans of.
Yeah, there was a place that was incredibly beautiful, but definitely felt still like I was in America, and that was a big thing for me. I didn't want to feel like I was just living in a townhouse in the United States. Another place that we looked at, we didn't like that you couldn't walk anywhere. We did want to make sure that we could not just walk to the beach, but walk to a restaurant, walk to a few shops, and get things like that. We didn't want to be stuck with only being able to go places in our car.
That being said, we are in a codo.
Yes.
So a codo is what the Mexicans call a gated community. It's got the high walls. Ours has a 24-hour security guard. So it's not what some people refer to as real Mexico.
Yeah.
There are some things that we miss out on. There's some things that we'd actually like to have. Street vendors.
Yes.
People coming down the street, selling tortillas, bolillos. They'll come around with the gas trucks, kind of whatever most people need. A lot of things get delivered right to your door, and it's quite fantastic.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, it gets noisy. Cars drive down the street with their loudspeakers on, advertising their wares. So again, when I'm on the phone for work, it doesn't really work super well. We already have 2 kids and a dog. There's enough noise going on. I don't need extra.
Yes. Yeah, once we were here, we both kind of thought we wouldn't end up staying in the gated community, but the more we were here, the more I realized that even though that I feel Bucerias is incredibly safe, it is very nice that when he and I are both working, I can just let the nanny go play with the kids, and I don't have to worry about, cars driving by fast, or just, if there's so much chaos, the kids can kind of get lost in the shuffle. And I do think that that is a peace of mind for people that are new here with incredibly small children. I mean, everybody knows what a 2-year-old is like. Sometimes they're great listeners, and sometimes they're absolutely off the wall, and so you don't know. So that peace of mind, I will say, has been nice living in Lakota, which is a reason we did decide to stay here for the next few months. We've also gotten to know quite a few of the neighbors who mainly live in Guadalajara, and so they are locals. They use some of these places to rent out, or they are their second homes. So we are still getting to know people who live in Mexico. Okay, everybody, stay tuned for our next videos. I still am working on getting you a banking one, and we will also be bringing you a series of living in Bucerias. So part 1 will be coming soon, as well as...
Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be talking about different ways to bring in cars. Is it better to drive down? Is it better to buy a car here? What did we do? What might be best for you? So hit like, subscribe,
and join us again. Thanks for visiting.
I chop all this kind of stuff up.
I chop it up. I chop it up.